Go ahead, punk. Make me play.
This is Bumping Into That Sound.
Welcome to Bumping Into That Sound, the rock-centric music and tone podcast where we dive deep into the riffs, rhythms and stories behind your favourite artists, tracks and instruments. My name is Francis and I'm your host. Whether you're a classic rock enthusiast or just discovering the magic of it for the first time, we've got you covered. Each episode, we explore the story behind the sounds, the people and the equipment. For those that don't know, Bumping Into That Sound is part of the Bumping Into family of podcasts. The idea behind Bumping Into is long-form conversations across a wide range of topics. So, if you're into more than just music, head over to bumpinginto.com.au or search Bumping Into on your podcast player and discover a range of other podcasts from health to history and a swag of interesting people and insights. There's also a few of the original music-based shows on that channel. You can check them out because they might not have made it across to this one just yet. Today, on Bumping Into That Sound, we're shining the spotlight on one of the rawest high-energy rock bands of modern times, Electric Mary. Hailing from Australia, this powerhouse group has been delivering gritty, soul-infused rock and roll since 2003, capturing the essence of classic rock with a modern twist. From the thunderous riffs to the unforgettable live performances, Electric Mary is a band that brings the spirit of rock to life. Sadly, the guys have announced that they will be retiring the band at the end of 2025, but not before a new single and a final lap around the world to say goodbye. This episode is longer than most, but the reason I decided to leave it as it was, versus editing it down, is because we explored the special meaning behind the forthcoming track called Shaun, which isn't something to just gloss over. I also ask about the decision to wind up and what 2025 and beyond looks like for the guys. So I really wanted this to be a place for those that have a connection or a deep liking for the band to be able to get immersed in the conversation. I hope it does justice to the band and to Rusty and gives the fans something to sit back and enjoy the ride with. Rusty, I've got you. How you going?
Good.
Look, firstly, thanks very much. I appreciate you making the time on your Saturday morning too to talk.
It's totally okay. I'm sure the phone's going to ring while I'm talking to you.
That's all right. No, that's all right. That's no drama.
And I'm on my old computer too, not my new one.
Right.
The new one's at the studio. I only try to do music on that and not anything else.
Yeah. Keep the world separate because otherwise they get cluttered and they slow down with too much stuff on them. Yeah, I know.
And the Chinese own Pro Tools now.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
imagine all that AI, TikTok, all the songs that you're putting on, everyone in there, every home studio, every kid that writes a song, every old man, every girl on Pro Tools.
Is all on some Chinese server somewhere getting in.
Yeah, they make it. Yeah, they make it. Yeah. I feel like they own it. I could have said that wrong, but they definitely they make it now.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? I spoke to a guy. I did a podcast with a bloke on Wednesday night. He makes guitar cables, all made in Australia.
Yeah.
And his whole thing is he didn't want to get caught into the costs. He wanted to make the best he could. So everything he sourced was the best. And he's like, I'm not going to compete. If I can't sell it as a premium product, I'm not going to sell it. But it's just it's refreshing to hear someone have that approach because otherwise everyone else is like, what can I put my sticker on that's the cheapest and just get volume, market share.
I watched this doco on AC/DC and they couldn't get the sound in the studio. And, they were plugging things in and it's just not the sound. And the producer or engineer said, are you doing something different? I said, no, this is the stuff I use. And then, I don't know if it was Angus or the roadie said, oh, no, you're not using the wireless pack. And it was the wireless pack that made that slight different sound.
That was the
that's
edge.
Yeah, but that's going against what we just talked about. It's
Yeah,
not a it's
not
not a
direct.
lead, not
Yep,
direct.
yep.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
it's what made the sound.
Because
The sound of
he's telling me that the I said to him, why, apart from the look, why'd you go for the curly one? And he said it goes back to the old plexi days where the Marshalls were so bright and bitey that people used to find if they had the curly cord, it would just take the edge off that sharpness in the sound. So,
Brian May always used the curly still.
oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And they do
yeah,
look good.
still.
And he's got the vintage color range. So he's got this really cool. The caramel reminds me of an old telecom house phone. They used to have them in
Right,
that caramel orangey brown color.
right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he reckons that's his biggest seller is the caramel. He reckons he can't keep up with those ones.
Right. Well, send me an email and tell me where it is.
Yeah,
Because
I'll send you the link. Yeah.
I reckon Brett would like that stuff too. Because he's always like Brett and Erwin are two people, probably Glenn Proudfoot as well, but Brett and Erwin are two people who chase.
Oh,
They are
right.
on a continual chase of
Chasing the tone.
chasing the tone. And Erwin in the early days, I'd hear him. I think it's in their hands, but anyway,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
think that. He'd play something and I'd go, oh, he's a new amp. And 2 weeks later, he wouldn't have that amp. He'd have another one. It's like, oh, no, it wasn't quite. It's like, are you serious? Like if
Ah,
people could play 3/4 as good as that or sound as good as that. But
yeah.
in saying that, Pete Robinson, as soon as he plays a G, you actually just know it's him. Well, I do because I've played with him for
So
21
long.
years now.
Yeah.
And, we go overseas, we don't use our own equipment. We rent stuff and he just goes, blah, and you just go, yep, that's you, man. That's how you sound. It's
Wow.
amazing.
It
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I've known, and that from someone that plays and tries to play better, it's frustrating when people say, "Oh, it's in the hands, it's in the fingers," because it's like, well, that's shit. Because they're eons ahead in talent. You sort of want to be able to buy a product that's going to get you closer. But I think you are right because you can hear even when you listen to something and you'll be like, "Oh shit, that sounds like such and such," and then you jump on and read who it was, and it is. Even what's his name? Dave from the Baby Animals. He has it.
Yep.
He has a certain ring to how his strings ring out that sounds like
Yeah.
him. And you can hear it before you see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. He's great. He's played in Electric Mary quite a few times.
Oh, right.
And a beautiful guy. Yeah. Well, we always, Pete and Brett in other bands. And so it comes down to whether I want to play or not play, whether somebody else steps in at the time. Yeah, we've had lots of guitarists, man. Lots of guitarists.
Geez, it's I mean, the good thing about that is you get all that influence, that way that they
Yeah.
do something, that comes in and shines for that moment and it feels a bit different. But it must be like from their point of view, if they're tone chasing to turn up in Europe and you've got a hired bunch of equipment and you're sort of going, oh shit, what are we? I'm hoping for the best here. This Marshall might sound a little bit different to that one, or who knows how it's been biased or whatever. And you sort of go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but I
In,
don't, yeah, it doesn't ever sound
sorry.
bad.
No, in certain times of Electric Mary, when we've been riding on a little bit of a wave, um, the people from the electric factory would get us to the people in France at the Marshall factory. So we would be able to go in
Oh
and
wow.
try a few before we went. But then we started getting on to this guy and he's actually sold his business now. It just looked like a house at the start, but it was actually a big factory. It used to be something else and there's rooms everywhere. And he'd hired to everybody, dude. Stevie Ray Vaughan, the Rolling
Oh,
Stones,
geez.
because you know why? He was a little bit older than us, but he'd been playing. He was actually a player. I feel like he was a bass player, but I could be wrong. He had guitars and he had everything, and he had all the amps, the
Right.
old vintage amps. Yeah, so he only kept a few. He sold it now to a bigger conglomerate. But we got to use his vintage amps on the last tour. So yeah, the boys were very happy with that. But you got to be careful of them, because
Yeah, you can't replace them. You can't just go and buy another one.
yeah, no. Well, funnily enough, we blew one at the very first gig, but the guy who owned it was there. He happened to be at the gig, and he knew how to fix it. At
Oh,
the time, it didn't blow again, but it was scary. And here we go. We're
oh,
actually
yeah.
blowing an amp in front of the guy who
Who
owns it.
owns it? Yeah, at the first gig.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so you're about to go back over again. You've announced you're going next year.
2025, 2025. Yeah, we'll do shows in Australia, probably just one in each state, and then we'll go to Europe and do a bunch of shows and say goodbye to the people who have been very good to us there. We'll make sure we play those places. It's actually, how do I say this without it sounding weird? We're not actually going back to try and build something. We're actually just going back to say goodbye.
Yeah, so it's
Because,
a different energy.
yeah, and we're not going to see those people ever again in our lives. And, we've played at some of those places 5 and 6 times on
Jeez.
different tours. So, yeah, it's really good. There's a particular, I don't want to point one out, but there's a particular show we do in the Basque Country called Haldorado, where we did our live album.
The
And
best sounding live album I've ever heard.
that was mixed by The Machine, who's mixing our new single, which comes out, which he'll
Oh,
do
right.
next week, actually, on the 25th. So it'll be the 26th for us. So somewhere there we'll get it back, and we're hoping to release it on the 30th of October. Yeah, but just
Oh,
stepping back one, the Eldorado was amazing. We do 2 gigs there for the last 3 times at least, Friday, Saturday. And we never get a chance to actually hang with Juan. And he's the guy who talks at the start of the live album. And he's a great guy. He's a great guy. And so we definitely got to get back to see him. And there's more than that, of course. We
yeah.
have, Fred looks after this France. We've got Jose. He looks after the Spanish side. So yeah, look, we went to the Nordic countries last time, and that was good. And if I felt like we were going on and on and on for more years, we would definitely go back there. I hope we can get somewhere because, as you probably realize, the countries are a bit closer. But
Yeah.
it's closer from, I don't know, what is it, a 10-hour drive to Sydney now from Melbourne?
Yeah.
Well, in a 4-hour drive, we went from Italy through Switzerland, through Austria to Germany.
You covered a lot of ground, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different cities. Yeah.
And that's the reason we love Europe,
Yeah.
because you might not win over every country, but you might win over the country that's next door, and it's only an hour and a half away.
Yeah. It's
With it,
so different to here.
oh, it's mad. Different. Like I said, different cultures, languages. Usually, the money's all still euro, but yeah, I love that stuff. I love that stuff. I love the fact that you're playing in a band in Australia or Melbourne, Australia, in the suburb that you live, and someone from overseas loves your music.
Yeah.
When you're a smaller band like us, I mean, because we're not the Beatles or Deep Purple or Led Zeppelin. We're on a smaller scale. I had a guy from Mexico message me one day and said, "I've just found your music, and I get up 1 hour earlier every day now so I can just listen to it. So I've got a longer day to listen to it. Before I go to work, I
Wow.
get up 1 hour earlier than I ever have just so I can listen." And that's a guy from Mexico, right? Totally different culture,
Yeah.
totally, and even probably thinking a totally different musical sort of genre. Mexico, I don't always think about rock when I think of Mexico, but it was very cool. it made me feel good. It makes you. Music has that thing
Mm.
that yeah. I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but when you latch onto a song,
Yep.
whether it be a 3 or 4 minute song, when you really love it, you're always gonna love it.
Yeah.
It's just always there. I mean, I listen to Deep Purple, Burn, Stormbringer, or Come Taste the Band, and I still just go, I just love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're 50 years old, man, and I've heard them hundreds of times, but I still put it on and just,
It's like hitting an A chord on a Marshall. It just doesn't
yeah,
date. It never goes out of
no,
fashion. It never changes.
no,
It still evokes that feeling, that something about it, like it's your first time again.
yeah,
There's just
it's
something about it.
yeah, isn't it amazing? And and when you're in a band and you come up with what you think is a good song, new song, it's like the feeling you get is amazing. Because when you think about um, rock, say rock music, like as I know, Deep Purple and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
that's 60 years old, man.
Yeah.
How many songs have written that you and I have loved, and then I have to pick up my guitar, sit on a couch or wherever I am, and start and write another one that
Yeah.
hopefully someone attaches themselves to that hasn't been written before. Like
Yeah. Yeah. The
it's
sound.
got
Yeah.
it's got to be the DNA of the band,
Yeah.
and it's going
Yeah.
to be a lot easier now because everyone's writing songs with AI.
Oh
I
God.
I spoke to a friend the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, I've written 72 songs in 2 weeks." I'm like, "72 songs? How do you do that, man?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, I just feed him the information." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, it's AI. I've written 72 songs," and he's going to win through this. You watch. He's a smart guy, man, and he'll have songs on movies, or he'll have songs in ads, or he'll have bits and pieces because he's just fed the information in, right? He's a very good musician, but he sees this as the next wave, right?
So he's jumped on and adapted.
He's jumped on and adapted. Because I'm not sure whether he's a songwriter from before, to be honest with you. Known him for a long time. I should know that. I know him as a keyboard playing singer.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, 72 songs in 2 weeks. Someone's actually, Alex, our bass player, sent me a song called Caroline O, I think it is. And he goes, "This is completely AI." And I went, "Oh my God, that's actually a good song."
And you
It was a
couldn't
pop.
tell, like it felt
No,
human.
no, felt human. It was a pop song.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then yesterday, a mate of mine sent a song of the Beatles doing Oasis. And even though it didn't sound like John Lennon singing to me, because I'm very aware of John Lennon's tone, I thought, oh, that's actually feasible, because the way the drummer played, it was I can't think of what it was now. I could tell you if I look at my phone. It was it wasn't Wonderwall, was it? It was something else, but the way the drums were played, it felt like it was Ringo playing in Oasis. You know what I mean? It was
Oh, wow.
slightly different. Yeah, let me just look on the phone while I'm talking to you. I'll try and tell you what it was. Peter
It's powerful stuff when you can create something from nothing and just ask it to merge
Yeah,
something with something else. And yeah. And
it's mental.
what do you
Let
make of
me.
it? Like, how do you, like, do you do what your mate's done? Do you adapt, or do you stay true to your
I know.
origins? And I don't, it's a
I
hard.
won't. No, I won't adapt. I've talked to people like, okay, if this is real, this could be really easy
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
just go Electric Mary, Deep Purple, right? Shove it in,
And see what
and then it
happens.
comes out, and then you go, actually, it's not too bad, but I wouldn't do that. I'll just write that little bit there and then go away and record that. But what I wanted to know was, does AI know when you've released it as a song that the algorithms of the thing they spat out
Is it imprinted?
is the same as what you're playing?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it going to come back and bite you in X amount of years or whatever it might be?
Yeah. So he was telling me about this guy yesterday, because I don't know any of these words. He said he used a bot. So he made a song and he used a bot, whatever a bot is.
Which is like a robot, like a programming, something
Okay,
that
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So he made $10 million from Spotify before they busted him, because the bot said that his song had millions and millions and trillions of plays,
He
but
made
it
$10
didn't
million.
before they found him.
And did they get
Yeah.
the money back?
Well, I guess they had to, because I think he got charged. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're going to play that game, you got to be prepared to get caught up at some point.
Yeah, I was reading or watching a doco on which one was it, from ABBA? One of them, Bjorn maybe, and some other guys, are high up in that Swedish, because they write all those great pop songs that are coming out now.
Oh,
I might not think they're great, but everyone else thinks they're great.
Yep.
So they've got onto this app where they've gone, everyone's being ripped off here, be it the drummer or the keyboard player or whatever. So here's our app to help you. Soon as you start a song, you register it and the bit you played, and you add the information. John Smith played bass, Phil Jackson played drums. So all the way along, while you're writing this song until it's released, this guy engineered it, this guy made coffees, all the information is there. This is my point, though. All the information is there.
Yeah.
And they're making money because it's not a free app.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're making money. And that, good on them. But there'll be some like me who probably won't use it. Yeah. And there'll be other modern day people go, yeah, this is how I'm going to make my money, because I can always prove now that I did that.
Yeah. So it's like a ledger. You just keep everything's documented.
Everything's documented. I mean, you go into Wiki now and it says John Smith sang this. Like, you don't know that, because anyone can just write that in. You don't know whether it's true. So I was watching also, I watch a lot of music docos, and this guy came up on YouTube. It just was going through. And I thought, he's a pretty good singer, this guy. Who is it? I looked his name up. Oh, cool. And I went into Wikipedia, and it says he's sung backing vocals on a Foreigner's song. I said, oh, cool. Okay, cool. And not a song, like nearly every album he's sung backing vocals, because he's an English guy, and I'm guessing Mick Jones knew him from way back in the day, because the video was from the 70s. And Mick probably, the higher echelon of people, like a Mick Jones, who's one of the great songwriters of our time. It's not about, we use Billy Bob's on the bass because he's our bass player. If they think they can get somebody better to do that jobs, and if Billy Bob's doesn't want to go with it, he's out of the band.
Oh, right. So it's that
Heaps of times you see drummers, especially drummers, because the drumming is the hardest part. That's where the feel comes in. That's the groove. That's what you have. But, as I've been saying lately, how do you spell drummer? D-R-A-M-A. They all come with a little drummer. But, I've watched heaps of drummers that said, I go into the studio and play on a track while the drummer's there. The drummer in the actual band is there, and he has to deal with it. because those big producers don't care. They just go, I'm getting the best for this song. And if you don't like it, work it out with management or whatever. But I'm sorry, you don't come in here and tell me what to do. You got me to
Jeez.
produce it. I tell you what to do. They're like football coaches,
So
man.
they really pull rank like that. They're not like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
I'm here to help guide you through. It's not, this is how we're
They're,
doing it. Take it or leave it.
yeah, Mutt Lang's really like that. And
Wow. Shit, I had
look
no
at,
idea.
yeah, look at Mutt Lang's done. AC/DC, Def Leppard, Brian Adams, Foreigner, like every one of the records he's done that I know is a classic record.
That's
Oh,
phenomenal.
then, then other people come along. Brendan O'Brien did a lot of the things in the 90s. Soundgarden or Stone Temple Pilots, or, when rock came back in another form,
Yep.
luckily.
Oh,
But I
so
don't,
he was the guy of that sound of that time.
yeah, Brendan O'Brien, he did lots of things.
Because isn't another guy, is it Kevin Shirley?
Yeah, he's an Aussie guy. Actually, I think he's born in South Africa, but he lived in Australia. Yeah. He did Silverchair, Aerosmith, the Black Crows. I went to his studio for a week with three other guys and learned how to mix. And because I really wanted to get in, I started a business called Be Inside the Circle. So I wanted to help people that maybe were of the lower end of things, because it's very hard to get anywhere if you don't know anybody in whatever thing you're doing. Yeah, I went to Kevin Shirley, it was good, but on the last day came on the news, hey, we're shutting New South Wales down. You're gonna have to get out if you're not from here. And so I had to
Ah,
catch a plane on the last day, and nothing ever eventuated from it. Like there was no recall or recourse or come and do your last day. It was just ended.
that's a
But
shame.
it's a shame because then we really got locked down and I didn't do anything for 2 years. And I just basically forgot everything that,
Yeah, because if you're not using it and doing it, it goes out the
yeah,
door. Yeah,
yeah, I'm a hands-on person.
I'm the same.
There's lots of those people. There's lots of great stories. The one about the Eagles, they wanted to be Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
So when they got signed, they went to England. They got Led Zeppelin's producer, engineer, and they just went away and did their things. And cutting a long story short, the
yeah.
guy said, I just don't get it. You're not Led Zeppelin. I actually don't get it. Like, you
He's
guys are good, but I don't know. He said, look, I don't know what to do. I'm going to go grab lunch or whatever. And I might be building this a little bit further than this. This is how I remember it. He went out for lunch and he came back quickly to do something, and they were doing what we know as the Eagles now, mucking around. And he stopped and he went, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just one of those songs we kind of jam on when we're." He goes, "No, that's who you are. There you are. Do that." Oh yeah, but we want to be Led Zeppelin. No, no, no. Do that.
wow. Lucky he said that because they certainly made a name for themselves.
Well, that's the thing. And that, is it a story though? Is it a convenient story, or is that really what happened in a roundabout way? I'm sure
Yeah.
it probably didn't happen exactly like that, but that's the story. And I've heard Don Henley and that say that they wanted to be Led Zeppelin 100%. So, yeah, we wanted to be Led Zeppelin. We
Because they're
wanted
very
that
different
thing.
sounding to Led Zeppelin.
Way different sounding.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's amazing to think because normally if you're chasing a sound or a style, you do your own version, but that influence is recognizable. But for that, they're worlds apart in how they sound.
Yeah. But I don't know how early that was in their career, but think about this. What if you were Led Zeppelin going to California and then you were the Eagles and you did a cover of it? Dun, dun, the garden of faith. Dun, 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 it's all the same. You know,
Yeah, 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 sure, yeah.
It could be
Yeah.
done that
It
way,
could be
I'm
done.
sure.
Yeah.
You and I would probably
Yeah.
go on AI today and said California, going to California,
Yeah.
but the Eagles, and see what they came out with, and I'm sure they'll come up with a matchup. Remember
It'd
they
probably
used
be
to
a
do
hit.
the
Yeah.
yeah. Remember they used to do the mashups.
Yeah.
They do anything, black back in black with something that easy, not the easy beat, the VGs did. It was
Yes. Yeah.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
had a thing about them because you knew the down, dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun. You only needed that, and they'd be, and you can travel where use my welcome,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. Two iconic sort of sounds, and as long as they're
Mm,
in sync, it
mm,
works.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
There's
that's what
probably a
that.
lot of hits to be made now from that happening with AI doing all the hard work.
And then they're just going to control us. I don't think I'll be around for when they control us.
Yeah, it's coming though, isn't it? You can see the path that we're being steered down. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been made. The funny thing is, they've been making movies about it for years, where
Yeah.
the machines take over.
Yeah. I mean, no one's paying attention.
No one's paying attention. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I
happy
know.
with this.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people in the world who are just happy to just be over there. I'm happy over here. I'm not hurting anybody. And
Yeah.
that when there's others who are like, no, I'm taking the bull by the horns
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm really going to make this work for me. And I think that's what my mate's doing with these 72 songs in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Shit, that's
Yeah.
good. He's certainly got the odds in his favor of finding a hit if he can pump them out that quick.
Oh, God, I wouldn't write 72 songs in 10 years.
And the lead up to you deciding that that's it now. What
Mm,
what was because I didn't see it coming, and not that I had any reason to or not to, but it didn't feel like your sound, what you do, has an expiry. It felt like it's timeless, and when it's on, it's on, and when it's off, it's put in neutral, but it's never put in park. It's never finished. Is it?
yeah.
Is it? What was that lead up process?
Well, I don't want to down vibe this, but I'm not scared about when people normally ask me on a one-on-one conversation, but this is going to be more of a one-on-one conversation. I feel like I don't sing as good anymore, and I can't have that. I just
Because you're
won't have it.
perfectionist. That's fair
I
enough.
just,
Yep.
well, I don't know if I'm a perfectionist. Apparently I'm a Virgo, so they do things. I still sing okay, but I manipulate how I'm going to sing a song now. And if I go to sing Let Me Out, I want to be able to sing it.
The way
I
it
don't
should
want
be.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, yeah, the way it used to
Yeah.
taste.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't, I've been in an audience and looked up at the stage and thought, why the hell is he still singing? A shit house. And I don't want to be that guy. I can't have that. Not a chance in hell. And look, there's more factors than that, but that is a major factor.
Yeah.
We could still make music though. If this is more about playing live, we won't play live
Right. So you can
anymore
still
after.
collab and do things.
We can. I'm not saying we're going to, but we can. I mean, once everyone agreed to it, it took more than, 1 minute for everyone to go, yeah, I see that. Yep, no worries.
Really?
Yeah,
So there wasn't
absolutely.
someone in there going, no, no, no,
No,
no.
no, no, no. No, because they felt it for me. They felt for me as one of their brothers that, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm 85%, not 100. So I want to make sure that I do that right, And there's lots of songs that I sing exactly the same. And there's not lots of songs. There's a few songs that I go, yeah, I need to work out a way to sing that now. Who wants to do that? You don't work out a way to sing it. You just
Yeah.
sing
It's the
it.
way it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if you've seen that Bon Jovi doco, but I'm not saying I'm
No, I haven't. I've
any.
heard a lot about it and him saying that he's not going to do it unless he's 100% and
Yeah,
all.
well,
Yeah,
that's basically what I'm doing, and I'm not
yeah,
saying I'm in his league, in any stage whatsoever. But I watched it. I really felt for him because it's not like a guitar where you're going like that, and that. You're actually it's coming out of the inside of you, and you want to be able
yeah,
to do it properly,
yeah. I can imagine it'd be
Um,
hard work.
yeah. But I also, I also don't want to put people off thinking they're going to turn up to a show and I'm not going to be able to sing. That's not the truth. I can
No,
sing,
no. Look, I'm
but
totally
by
get it.
2025, I'm going to be 65 in 2025.
But you're definitely a young 65. And there's a huge difference between a Joe average 65 and especially one from 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah,
There's worlds apart between 65-year-olds or 60-year-olds. So I definitely put you in the young 65, that's for sure.
I think I'm 16 still.
I admire your bravery to make that decision too. It's easy to be comfortable and, like you said, figure out ways to do something to not get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that's incredibly brave. It's a brave decision on a personal level, and it's a brave decision on a professional level that you've had to make. I mean, it's a hard decision, and it's a sad one for people like me and the guy in Mexico and the thousands of others that the sound of you and the band means the world to. But there's no denying that that's a very, very brave decision that you've made on a lot of levels.
Well, we made this decision in January. We're only
Oh
just,
shit!
we only just had the kahunas to actually say it now. And Pete
Oh,
rang me after he made the announcement. Well, I made the announcement first, and then he made his own announcement on his Facebook, on his socials, and that. And he rang me and he goes, "It's actually really sad now that once I wrote it down and
confirmed
sent
it.
it out to people and confirmed it, because we've done a lot of things, man. I mean, I've played with all of my heroes, bar Richie Blackmore, White Snake, Commodore, Dave, Glenn Hughes. We've played with Deep Purple, like that. That's my era, and I've been on the same stage as those people. And you know, if it wasn't for Timothy Drury of White Snake in 2008, I think it was, we supported them. Like he used to play in the Eagles as well. He was the piano player of When Hell Freezes Over.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he really liked us. And he said that night that we played them, I'm going to help you. I don't know how, but I really like you. Like this is a 1 hour meeting between after him watching us side of stage. Because when I was singing, I turned to go over to Pete on my left and I saw Coverdale standing there. Then, my knees wobbled. And as I turned back to go to the other side back, there's the band with their thumbs in the air and filming us.
Oh,
And
wow.
Timothy Drew and we weren't supposed to meet Coverdale. In fact, we was told to pack up our stuff, get dressed, and then just move out of the thing. And he walked in the room as I was getting changed. He stuck out his hand. He said, "Fucking great show." And it was me and Nilo in the room. Like that, it's like a blur to me, but I know it happened because
Yeah.
Nilo was there with me. And like, wow. And then Timothy Drury said, "So you're going to make us work tonight?" And I knew what I knew what he meant. You know,
Yeah.
he said, "This is no disrespect to anyone that we ever play with, but you guys are the best support band we've ever seen or had." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. Just trying to be humble, Mr. Melbourne guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And true to his word, he got us shows in Europe, and you know, and
Jeez.
that's how Europe started. It didn't help him though, because David Coverdale gave him the ass for taking us over there.
What, really? He had shits with it.
Well, that's what he said. That's what he said. He said he didn't like the fact that, when we played, I can't call it a standing ovation because they were already standing. but it's on, there's footage of it on YouTube. But if you watch us in Paris for the very first show, they don't know us. We've never been overseas. They don't even know who Electric Mary are. They go nuts. They just go nuts. And he didn't like that. And I talked to Bernie Marsden. We did a show in Stevensville, Maryland, actually. It's the PRS factory. And they have this weekend where they have all, because we use PRS guitars. And I saw Bernie Marsden there. Bernie wrote, Here I Go Again, and all those Whitesnake songs, the good ones. And I said, I'd love you to come and watch us play because it's really in my DNA. Like, that's my thing. No one else in our band loves Whitesnake, but the early Whitesnake, the blues bass, honky tonk one, because I just love Commodore. And I said, it's really weird though. Once we play with bands, they never reciprocate or want to do another thing. He goes, because you're too good. I said, what do you mean? You can't be too good. He said, as the older bands, the bigger band, as they get older, they get smaller. They don't still play to 100,000 people and stuff like that. But their egos get bigger. Their egos get bigger.
So they're at a war internally.
Yeah. Their egos get bigger and their audience gets smaller. So they don't want you
showing them
up. I'll tell you a story about Alice Cooper. He came in our band room. He said, you guys are amazing. He goes, who are you? What are you? And his manager was with him, or his two manager. I'll say manager. And I said, oh, look, we're going to Europe in he goes, yeah. You email whatever his name was. And yeah, sure, you can do shows in Europe with us. Like, oh, thank you so much, And then he left to go on stage and do his thing. I must have emailed that guy 8 times. He never replied to one because he didn't want people doing that. It's about Alice Cooper. It's not about him. Alice might think like that. Same with me. We've got a new mixer for our next show. I said, can you do the support band? He said, yeah, no worries. I said, this is not old school, though. They sound as good as us, okay, because they're our mates. He goes, yeah, I wouldn't do that. No worries. And that's how I feel. Like, when you see a big band and the support band doesn't get the sound and they don't get the lights. I don't do that. We don't do that shit, man.
No, because
the people have bought the tickets to see Electric Mary. If they get Bottle of Smoke and Dean from the Revelation being good as well, awesome.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
It's a better night for everyone.
It's a better night for everyone, man.
Yeah, 100%. And it's, I guess that's I don't know if that's some people have that and some, like you said, with the ego, maybe that's when that turns off. I don't know. But it's a better way to be for sure, because then the whole night's better for it and you come on the stage and it's your time to shine.
Yeah. I remember we met in Queensland, right?
Yep.
You'd never seen us before?
No.
But you loved it. I saw the look in your face.
Yeah.
When you went, wow, you're old school. You've given me a feeling.
Yeah.
Did we mention Billy Thorpe somewhere?
I said to you when you came off, I said it was the first time since Billy Thorpe died that I've heard that sound and felt that power.
Right.
And it's that raw martial grunt, pure rock and roll, that feeling that you guys have. Yeah.
Well, we got Paul DeMarco to play on our new single. So he played with Billy for, I think he said 13 years. Or something.
Yeah. For a long time. Probably from 90, well, it would have been the mid-90s.
Yeah, I'm not
sure. Tail end. Yep. Yeah, he was with him for a while. Yeah.
Definitely he was doing that. What's that album he had at the end?
Tangier was the single off it. Yeah.
Right.
The semi-acoustic Moroccan influenced album.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like he said he played on that as well, or somewhere, or he was around that era. He was playing that. Yeah. So he's on our new single, which is dedicated to a friend of mine who passed away, who I played in a band with for years. We played, we went to school together since 14. And then
Oh,
we played in a few original bands. We even did a cover band, which is actually a successful cover band in Melbourne. And it taught me a lot of things playing in that cover band. It taught me a bit about humility, because you can get ahead of yourself. And then one day I woke up and I thought, yeah, I'm playing other people's songs. And people are saying how good I am, but it doesn't actually mean anything now. I realize that. So that's when I said to Shaun, I got to go, man. I want to write my own songs again. I mean, I started doing covers because we wanted to make money so that we could do originals. And we did do some bands, but then it just became all convoluted and all in the mush of about money and stuff. And we both liked money, but I don't like money as much as I thought I did. There's nothing in your heart that, you can wrap a dollar bill around your heart, but it'll soon break through in your soul. So, yeah, unfortunately, he passed away, and we had a great, while he was sick, the last few months were really, I don't know, we've always been connected, but there's been places when he's been in his own band and I've been in my own band. But
when you came back
but
together.
it was very good. And, I started to think, wow, for 5 years that we're in that cover band, we lived in the same street, and we still do it original bands at the same time. So for 5 years, every day and every night, we were kind of together, so
Wow.
it's had a huge impact on me. And as I walked life before I thought about it, I didn't think about it. And then as it came, as I started thinking about it, I went, wow, we've actually done a lot of stuff together musically that because I moved on all the time. I just kept moving on. I had a band after that band, Mr. Brown, just a totally different kind of style. It was more about what I liked at the moment at that time. And we had Triple J hits, and we went to Canada. We went to South by Southwest in America.
Jeez.
But and it was pretty good. But I played guitar and sang in that band. It wasn't the right thing. Once, like I said, at the time I liked that, but Electric Mary's about what I grew up with as a kid. The first taste of music, the first time you hear Deep Purple. And that's how I want people to remember Electric Mary. You said it before. It's the first time since.
Yeah.
And when
That
it,
punch of emotion that stops you dead in your tracks, and you're just
yeah.
captivated. Yep.
And when I invite people to shows from all walks of life, I say, I think even if you don't like that style of music that much, you will like our band.
Yeah.
Because it is a band, man. You've got Pete Robinson, who does his thing.
Yeah.
You got Alex, who's almost a front man. He's been a front man in all his own bands. You've got Brett on the other side. He's got the blues thing, and it's always been that. If it wasn't Brett, it was Irwin or Jack Jones. If it wasn't Jack, it was Glenn Proudfoot, who had the more, not metal, but he was a heavier, faster player and brilliant. They all brought something. We've had so many guitarists.
It's a special bond. There's no doubt there's something special and elevated when that group is together and that sound is coming off the stage.
But you know what it is at the end of the day, in all honesty? It's the DNA of the players and all that. It's the songs, man.
Yeah.
Because once people nail those songs, and they know, Dave Leslie, right? Beautiful guy. Look at his repertoire in Baby Animals. Like, seriously. He said to me one day, I get nervous when I rehearse with you. I said, what? "What do you mean? You're Dave Leslie, man." He goes, "I get nervous when I rehearse with you because he thinks it's a beast, uh, you know."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Really?" And because I'm on the outside of that. Remember, I'm not playing an instrument. I'm not having to be in time with him or whatever it is. Because I imagine they split themselves in half. Half of them have to be in the band, and the other half of them are doing what they do
Yeah.
to be in that band. And I just stand out front with a microphone and just sing. Like those guys, they're playing the music. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about that band. And that'll be the sad thing when that's done for me. But, that's why we didn't just call it quits, though. We said we'll go do another year or 15 months and make sure we get to people
Yeah. That would have been
that
terrible if you'd just said, that's it. Sorry to say, we're
yeah,
done. Oh, definitely.
yeah. And we'll finish up with not one bit of negativity towards each other.
Yeah.
We
How
still
good's
all
that?
get it. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I've always had that mantra. I won't play in a band where people don't get along. No chance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you don't want to be in that environment. What for? If
The
it's
only
something you do for
people
the love.
yes, in my mind, the only people that do it are the people who do it for money.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
A
hear that.
commercial business, and it has the same bickerings as an office place does. And who wants that in the music world?
Look at what was their name? Perry and what's the name the other day?
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Having a blue on stage.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
wow,
Seemingly
okay.
over nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You,
Look,
you,
I can understand the frustrations of being in a band because it is frustrating. We've done many tours overseas and they've always been, you know, pretty good, but 2019 was effing amazing. It's like, whoa, why can't it be like that every time? Look at that.
oh, oh,
It was so radically amazing. Like we've been together for at that stage, I don't know, 18 years or whatever it is. No, 2003, 2019, 17 years maybe. And you'd be downstairs waiting for the guy to come out of his room so we could all have breakfast together. That's never happened. Like,
wow.
because when you're in a band and you spend so much time together and you're in a van, a VAN, like all every
Yeah.
now and then, not that you dislike anyone, but you go, yeah, I'm just going to rush off and have breakfast myself this morning.
You just want to be by yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because,
Yeah. Quiet
you know,
reset.
and the other thing is that everyone else has their own life when we get off tour.
Yeah.
They don't live with somebody else. Some of them don't live with someone else. So they
Ah,
don't want my socks thrown on their pillow.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
everyone thinks that's just. I think it's funny, but after a while, it probably grates on you. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, especially if you're not living with someone else, because then for the most part,
Yeah.
your time is your own. And now all of a
Yes.
sudden, you've got
Yes.
an adjustment that's got to occur, and
Yeah.
that can be a hard transition.
Yeah.
So
You got to
that's fair
adapt.
enough. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll be all right though. 2019 is always in my head where I think, yeah, make it like that again.
And
We'll make sure that and again, it's important. Single rooms.
yeah,
We had single rooms most of the time in 2019,
right.
and it was that space. When you
So
come out of the room, you're like, yeah, let's go have breakfast. Yep, all right. Wait for Pete. He'll be down in a minute. Yep, no worries.
yeah, that's yeah. So that obviously mentally makes a big difference
A huge
to the
difference.
time together. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
huge
that
difference.
would add a high volume of cost to the tour.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. That's the
But
only downside.
yeah, well, everything in Europe is expensive now. Everything in Australia.
Yeah.
I remember putting €100 of diesel in the tank, and $200 came out of my bank. I was like, oh God,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
But them's the joys. You do one good gig and you won't be thinking about that stuff.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just got to beam and smile. You get up in the morning, and we did 23 shows last time. We drove 15,000 K, and sometimes those shows, when you get home at 1 and you have to be up at 6 to make sure you get to the next place on time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we drive. We do all the driving ourselves. We have our little thing. Alex and I do most of the driving. Pete is the guy who does the navigating. We have our way about it. And sleep patterns in a van are not that good, because everyone has a different. I'm okay with 6 hours,
Yeah.
but Brett or whoever, he could be the guy that likes to have 10 hours.
Yeah. So he's not on all cylinders.
He's not on all cylinders, so his last
Yeah.
4 hours is spent with headphones on, laying in the back of the van, all crunched up. And then you get to the gig, and people expect what they expect. They want a great show, and you have to do it. So
Yeah, well, you're like an athlete. You've got to perform now.
Yep.
And you're a professional, and you got to go up there and perform at the top tier level. And
Yep.
And the circumstances that led up to it aren't always ideal.
Aren't always ideal. But we're pretty good at it, man. We're pretty good at it. We don't really do shit shows, to be honest with you. Whatever level that is, like in my estimation, we're always pretty good because we got good players, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. You've assembled the best of the best. They're all
we
the elite in their craft.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And what's the guys' plans after 25? Has each of them got something they want to focus on, or is it other bands, or just doing studio work? Like, what's their next step?
Well, Pete lives in Queensland now since his father passed away. So we cancelled the tour because his dad was passing away, and we didn't want to put Pete in a position where he'd be on a bus and his dad's gone.
Oh, yeah. No, you don't want that.
So he just stayed home, and so he lives in Queensland now. He'll be doing his thing up there. Brett is probably right now he's not probably, I know he is. He's going to take on the mantra of his own band. He's got his own band, right? So he's got I don't know if they're a 3-piece or 4-piece, but he wants to finally do his music and his songs and his way. Because when you're in a band, obviously you can't have everything your own way. Alex, I'm not sure. Alex always writes, so he might do something else as well. I'm sure he would. He always writes, and he writes with a lot of people. So I'm sure he'll do something, and he makes film clips. He loves I was going to call it spray painting. What do you do it when you spray on the side of trains? That's not what he does.
Like that graffiti art.
Graffiti art. He loves it. He loves it. He's got this huge board in his backyard, and he'll work on the stuff, and then he'll take photos and put them up, and then he'll spray it white, and he'll start again.
So that explains why he did the artwork on the last single.
Yeah. He's done most of it. He's done the film clip for It's All Right, he did.
So he's got that artistic flair.
Yeah, the film clip for Woman, the one in the in Bendigo in the on the farm, he did.
Wow.
He's done a few of them. Yeah, he's got that thing about him. Yeah, he likes that.
Jeez. And what about yourself? Is it more like studio work or more mentoring?
I want to get it. I want to get into that mentoring side. I've often thought about the bass again because the bass guitar is my first instrument.
Oh, right.
So I'd be pretty confident, depending on who. I mean, I was the bass player of Erwin Thomas's band / Jack Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wrote the songs with him, and I was the bass player. We went to America. We toured Matchbox 20. We did some stuff there. And that's how Electric Mary came about. We just swapped roles. I sang and he played guitar.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So there's nothing stopping you from going back to the origin of that. Yeah.
Well, he's gone back to Southern Sons now. So he's got his original band Virgil Donati together, and they're back out on the road pretty soon as the summer comes along, I reckon. Yeah, he's pretty amazing. He still just sounds the same, man.
Yeah,
Great singer, great guitarist.
yeah, great guitarist. They're 100% really, really
Mm,
good guitar. Underrated, underappreciated, underspoken about.
yeah, he was in Noiseworks for a little while. I'm not sure whether he's in them still because he's doing the Southern Suns. I feel like they might. Timmy might be him. Timmy Henwood from Palace of the King. He he's also he's in John Stevens' band 100%. But I feel like he's going to be in Noiseworks now. I feel like it.
And is there anyone that you feel? I know I asked you this once before, and you didn't have anyone. You know, there's always it doesn't line up perfectly, but there's that succession that occurs. You know, when one thing ends, there's sort of someone to take on the mantle that sort of does it. I always use a thing of you know, Graham Kennedy, Bert Newton, Daryl Summers, Rove McManus. They sort of have.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
always someone along those lines that was progressing. It wasn't like, oh, you know, hey, it's
Steve
Saturday.
Vizard.
Yeah, there was always a person that was there to fill. Is there anybody that you either know or would feel that is like, okay, now it's on to you to hand that over?
Mm,
And that's what worries me.
yeah.
Yeah.
As a songwriter, I would say Aaron Kelly from Bottle of Smoke.
Okay.
Um, yeah, he's a very good songwriter. I'm always having a go at him. Come on, mate, what are you doing? Get off the couch. Hurry up. Your time will pass. Keep
Yeah.
going. Yeah, he's very good. Um, look, there's probably somebody else, but I would suggest that with the people I know, it would be Aaron Kelly from Bottle of Smoke. He has a thing. He has a thing that I like.
Right.
That doesn't always mean that's for everybody, but the reason, one of the reasons is I think it's good is because I don't just think it because he's me mate.
Right. It's just,
Sometimes you get confused because
yeah.
they're your mate. You go, oh yeah, it's good, man. It's not like
Yeah.
that. If I
Yeah.
just heard that, yeah, he's very good.
You know, what's your
Oh,
thoughts? One thing I've noticed is, you know, there's been a run of when you watch bands, like a few bands have broken up.
mm,
And one of them that was a real shame was a Sydney band called Fox Company.
right.
Um, and they broke up. They're just like, oh, you know, it's been 10 years and we're just calling it quits. And um, I never got the official reason, but you know, it was, I think they felt like they were just like a lot of Australian acts is spinning their wheels, and then that big
Yeah.
break maybe didn't happen. And they put out some really good music, good sounding rock, straight out rock sounding band. And you know, you speak to other people and they're giving it a go and they're trying to cross that line of like Sisters Doll is another one. They're trying to cross that barrier to become the next full-time Australian musician band, you know, not doing anything but what they are. And
Mm,
I often thought to myself, if the reason you're going to break up now, or is this a true statement? If you are going to say, we've done 10 years, it didn't happen, let's turn the switch off, is that the wrong way in today's environment to look at it? Because it's so hard to get market share, so hard to make money, even when you are good. Do you have to look at it like, okay, that band can continue because we want to do it, but we've got to treat it like a guy who goes to work all week and then spends his time and money on his hot rod.
mm.
It's rather than the guy building the hot rod says, I want to quit my job and just build hot rods, and I'm not successful if I don't reach that. It's like, no, in today's market, you work all week and that money goes into your passion, and the level of success is deemed on a different metric, a different measuring.
Well, yeah, it depends. Now, I've known Sisters Doll for a long while. I don't know them all that well personally, if much at all. The first thing I would say about them is nothing gets in their way. They are on. And I saw one of their new songs the other day and I was mightily impressed. It's like, okay. You've made the transition from this is brand new, we're seeing what we're
Yeah.
doing, and now they're evolving into what they're going to be.
Yep.
Some people don't get that straight. Electric Mary didn't get that straight away. When we first started, it was me and Venom. It was just me and the drummer, and then we got Pete to play on some, Irwin played on some, Cam McKenzie from Horsehead played guitar. I played bass, Venom played drums, I sang, I played guitars. So the first Electric Mary album is a good indication of where it could go. The second Electric Mary album is the indication of where it's gonna go.
Right. It all
And
started
that's
to
where
click.
it's gone. It all started to click because then we were a band. We weren't a band before. We were really just two guys. We had some good songs, but later on it became once it became bandish, like Let Me Out's the only song we've all wrote together.
Oh, okay.
And it's really known as around the world as people's favorite song.
Yeah. It's
But
the flagship. Yep.
Yeah, but we always open with that song, usually.
Yep.
Because we don't think of, oh, you better save your best song to last. We don't think like that. We think all our songs are good. Somebody's going to like one of them. So we just go ahead. Do you know what I mean?
And it's a great opener. It's got the sound for that punch in the face, set the tone.
Yeah, it's got this thing about it. I remember playing the SB one night, and this is a made up story in my head, right? But it happened, but this is what I imagined happened. There was a guy right down the front, and the intro music came on, and I just happened to notice him, and he was nudging his mate, like, mate, wait till you hear this. This is great. Like, he's brought his mate, probably never seen us before, and we didn't open up with Let Me Out, and his jaw dropped, and he was devastated. And it actually affected me that night. I went, I'll never do that again. Now, if I feel like I'm not singing that well, then you'll know that we don't open up with Let Me Out.
Because you warm up into it.
We did it all through Europe, most of Europe last tour. I feel like we won't do it anymore, though. We might do it on the last tour the last gig we ever do. But I feel like in my head, our brand new single, which is always a tough one to do, I think that's going to be our opening song because I really want to, I want to spend a bit of this time. Obviously I'm paying homage to the people in my own band. It's all about all of us. But, I want to pay homage to Shaun because I've really thought about it a lot. I think about him every day, just little bits. Oh, yeah, I remember little bits, that. And the great thing with this song is Alex actually wrote the music weeks and weeks before Shaun passed. And I was singing something and he said, what are you saying there? And I said, oh, nothing. I'm just saying another one in my ear, another one out. He goes, what does that mean? I said, I don't know. He goes, it sounds unreal. I said, it sounds good, doesn't it? Another one in my ear, another one out. Doesn't make any sense at all. He goes, I'm not so wrapped in the verse. So I said, oh, all right, I'll try and pick something up. And I didn't do anything with it. And Shaun passed away, and I don't know if it was a few days later, and I was in the studio. I said, I'll go get to Alex's song. And I started doing another verse, but as soon as I started singing, I knew it was about Shaun. The first verse is, nice to meet you, then you're gone. Life is short, rest now, Shaun. Right? Because that is how it is. Yeah. We had a 50-year relationship, but it actually feels not that long. You know what I mean?
At the end, the time doesn't feel what it was. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I kept singing everything, and I went, oh, this is good. But I couldn't come up with something better than another one in my ear and another one out. And I just went, oh, my God. Because you know what happened? I went to the hospital, and the nurse stopped me. And she said, Shaun has literally just passed away like 2 minutes ago. I'm like, oh. And so my brain immediately went, I knew I shouldn't have gone to the petrol station or whatever, you know. So I go in the room and, yeah, I'm holding his hand. That's my mate, and he's dead. He's passed away. And I'm with his girlfriend, her sister, and his brother. And we're in there for half an hour. And then Helen, her sister, said, do you want to spend a minute with Shaun by yourself? And I went, can I? Is that okay? You know? They're like, yeah. And I was just being me, man. Just stupid me. Like, for me, life, everything I do has a joke about it. And so I leant in and put my cheek on his cheek. He was just laying there. And I hugged him, and he went, and he made a noise in my ear. Another one in, another one out. They're the fucking chorus lyrics from 6 weeks before he passed away. That's mad. And I said, I don't have to change anything in this, because that's what he was. To me, look, I'm sure it's a medical procedure or thing, whatever. To me, he was saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Or get off me, as Scotchy do. Honestly, I loved it. I actually loved it. And I went out of the room and I told them, and I didn't want to go, I didn't think about, am I being stupid? It's not morbid or anything. But why am I smiling? I got a moment. I had a moment. And that chorus that I wrote 6 weeks earlier, when Alex said, what does that mean? I said, I have no idea, mate. He goes, it sounds good, though. I said, I like it.
Wow.
Another one in my ear, another one out. He breathed. It was like a breath in my ear, man. Just going, and that was it. It was over. He was already passed away half an hour earlier. And
Wow.
I'm not going to go about explaining to everyone, but maybe I will. But I'm sure when people hear they're going to go, what does that mean? But it makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Total sense.
Yeah. It all
And
came together.
The fact that, like I said, that I wrote that 6 weeks earlier, those were, what could it mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's an incredible lineup of just what was meant to be, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
And so I said to Alex, he said, oh, what are you going to call the song? And I said, oh, yeah, I don't know, man. He goes, you should just call it Shaun. Just call it Shaun. And because it's his music, not mine, I'm like, are you sure, man? It's like it's our song. He goes, mate, just call it Shaun. That's what it's about, right? I said, yeah. He said, just call it Shaun. So that's what it is. It's called Shaun.
Wow.
It's not a soppy song by any stretch. It's a rock song, it's hammering.
Right. So it's got all the DNA of the
Oh
Electric
yeah.
Mary grunt.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Wow.
It only goes for 2.5 minutes too. But yeah, it's got all the bits and pieces that I love about Electric Mary. There's 2 guitar solos. There's a chorus that you can jump on and sing back to me, and the lyrics are meaningful, more than meaningful. So the machine will have it on the 26th, or his 25th, our 26th, and it'll be mixed, and hopefully we get it out on Shaun's birthday, which is October the 30th. The
Right.
anniversary
So that's
of his birthday, yeah.
the hopeful release date.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, you look at all of the things that happened and the way it's going to line up. That's so many special dots being connected there that'll,
Yeah.
forever be joined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if we can get it out by October 30th, which I think we will, it gives everyone a month to hear it. Like some people will release a song on a Friday and play on the Saturday, and you don't know who's hearing it. Like at least a month will be out, and people will come to our show. And if we do open it, which is my plan to open with that song, I mean, sometimes it doesn't work. It's in your head, it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. But if we do open, it's not like they're going to go, "Oh, what's this song?" Because that can always be a killer to a live show. Yeah, let's open with one of the new songs. Yeah, and they're not quite au fait with how everything goes.
Yeah, because it's not familiar feeling.
Yeah.
Wow.
LRB opened with, and one of the reasons I always wrote "Let Me Out," because we did have a couple of conversations about, mate, we've been doing "Let Me Out" for so long, but it sets up a thing.
Yeah.
It sets it up, and LRB apparently opened up with "It's a Long Way There" for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just opened up with that, and they're doing concerts, and I mean, you're putting on a show. I was in a band in the 80s, and we toured with Tina Turner. I think we did 14 shows. I was on the bass. She said the same words every night because she was putting on a show. Because you got to remember, not everyone's going to those 14 shows. You might just go to one. So you don't know that she said that in Sydney.
Yeah.
You don't know she said it in Queensland.
Yep.
You don't know that she said that in thing.
And if it works and it forms part of like that effect, that emotion, if everything's being created, of course, you take that recipe and just duplicate it.
Yeah.
So everyone gets that experience time and time again.
Yeah. And I imagine that's how it must be for a comedian, because
Yeah.
you don't tell the joke once. You tell the joke slightly different each time, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I've seen live comedy where, the joke's 10 years old. And I've seen, soon as the guy says, blah, 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 the audience starts laughing because they know what's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what he does then is slightly changes it, because he's not going to say the same thing for 10 years. I mean, you can play the same song the same way for 10 years. It must be very hard to tell a joke for 10 years, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And
But
build the emotion into it and how it's
yeah,
the delivery. Yeah.
yeah. But people know it. They say a certain, like, it's like an opening line, and then they go, yeah, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Do that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you any plans to do the UK? Because I know a lot of people leave comments when you post stuff saying, "Oh, come to the UK." So obviously there's a bit of a following there for you.
Yeah, we've been to the UK quite a few times, and we lost our agent over there, and no one wanted to really pick it up. So I do, if I see a sort of a raspy comment, I'll go and private message them and say, "Listen, understand this. No one wanted us there, so we didn't go. You got to understand that. Like, you can't just say, hey, you didn't rock up to Wolverhampton." Yeah, well, no one wanted to do a show there, so what am I going to do? It's a distance to drive to all these places.
Yeah.
But yeah, the UK was very good for us at the start, and I hope that it's good again. We play this place called Nottingham Rock City, and there's an upstairs and a downstairs, and the downstairs is smaller and it's really good. But we've played upstairs when we've supported a band called Y&T a couple of times, and it's really good up there too. So I'd like to, the reason I want to do one show in these cities is because I want people to come. If I say to you, yeah, we're going to do about 8 shows in Sydney, you're just going to go, well, if I don't see that, I'll see that. No, we're going to put on a show for you, a special show. And if you want to be there, you'll make the plan. Don't, whatever. Look, we're even in Australia trying to just do it on a Saturday.
Oh,
so that no one really has an excuse.
Yeah.
Like, it's in November. There's no football on or rugby or whatever. There might be cricket, but it's not going to be on.
Yep.
Like, we'll give you the day. Please come. And, we're going to put on the best show we can because we know it's a one-off. It's not a cold chisel farming type thing where we're just going to keep going around and around and around. We're going to find the best and the biggest we think we can do, and you know, go from there.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a mixed emotion of a tour after every night, knowing, oh, okay, this is Brisbane's last go, Sydney's last go.
Yeah, it will, but you know, everything ends.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But at least, yeah, you're leaving on a high. You're leaving with a legacy. You're leaving with, and that great live album. I mean, you put that on in your car or at home, and that's the closest thing to being there of any album I've ever experienced.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because I found those tapes under the bed, stupidly enough, under the bed one time. Maybe we did in 2014. It come out in 2016, I think, right?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, we did in 2014, and Irwin was on that record. Brett couldn't come for some reason. I think he was with Pete Murray. Anyway, I said to Pete, "Do you have these machines to play these?" He goes, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Oh, well, I found them, so I'll bring them to your place and you can have a listen." We didn't know what they were. They cost $300. Yeah, the guy goes, "Oh, I can tape your shows on Friday and Saturday." I said, "Oh yeah, no worries, man. But you know, give them to me. Don't put them up anywhere." Yeah, yeah, no worries. And Pete rang me immediately. Goes, "You might want to come over. This is actually pretty good." And I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." So we
Oh.
went over and he played them, and I went, "Oh my god, we could make a record out of this."
It even feels I was where I've got that CD is in a drawer under the TV. Every time I pull it out, the look of it just
Mm.
even screams classic rock. It looks like an album that's
Yeah,
timeless.
Alex did that artwork on that one. Yeah,
Wow. Juice, he's got a
yeah,
flair. He's definitely got a flair for
yeah,
invoking a feeling and understanding things, doesn't he? Because I mean, that album ticks every box. The look of it, the sound of it,
yeah.
you couldn't if no matter what you wished for, what money you had, you couldn't. I don't think you could do anything better than that.
Well, that was the first time we used a machine, and he was really good. Um, and the other thing is, there's only one song from the first show. I'm sure the rest of it is from the second show,
Oh,
or
right.
if it's not, it's vice versa. But
Oh,
all the songs are from one show, and then there's one song from another show. That's it. Yeah,
geez.
and there's more songs than that too.
Oh,
We just
really?
we just yeah we just made an album that was that long. You
Oh,
know.
so in theory, there could be like a rare release
Yep.
that could come
Absolutely.
out with.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow, that's something to cling hope to and look forward to.
Yeah.
Definitely, because if there's more of that magic, you can't put sit that on the shelf. That's got to be free to roam the world.
Yeah.
So,
Probably all the other songs that we didn't deem good enough to release that I hear sometimes. I think, it's not that bad. I feel like they should come out in the end as well. Because
yeah.
I'm even up for, I quite like this. Um, Sometimes people put up songs like bigger artists, and then I listen and think, yeah, no wonder you didn't release that.
Yeah.
It's not quite up to your standard. Or in the case of Cheap Trick, If You Want My Love has another verse, right? And it's slightly different. And when I hear that, I think, no wonder you didn't put that in. It's fucking,
Oh, really?
yeah. Yeah, it
Oh,
doesn't make
shit.
sense. Doesn't make sense. But they play it that way now live, and I've got used to hearing
Hearing
that
that.
bit, and I don't think it's no good. I actually think it makes sense now, which I
Oh,
never did
wow.
before. Yeah,
Shit. Do you
yeah,
know, years ago, well, after a couple of concerts or whatever it was, I ended up talking to Billy Thorpe's sound guy.
yeah.
And we ended up talking a lot back and forth, and this was when I was first getting into playing guitar, and I was on the hunt for that sound. And he
Mm,
was sort of drip feeding me like, okay, these are the pickups that you need to buy. This is the type of amp Billy uses. This is the brand of valves that are in it. And as I could afford it, I was layering
mm,
all these things to get that sound. And years later, he said to me once, "Oh, we were talking about a couple of songs that he only ever did live. And that would have been when Paul was in the band. It was
Yeah,
that time after the Aztecs when he was on his own, but before he went into that sort of Moroccan
yeah.
sort of flair. And I said to him, oh, if is that been recorded? Has someone got that documented, that time, that sound? And he's like, yeah. I've got all these, most of the live shows, I taped them. I've got them all sitting in my storage container.
Mm,
And he said to me, I'll send you some. Anyway, he died a few weeks after he told me that.
right.
And I ended up chasing a guy who knew him. And I said, look, apparently there's these tapes in a storage container somewhere. Nothing ever came of it. They'll most likely, unless his wife has them, they'll never see the light of
Mm,
day. But to someone like me, that would mean the world. And that's obviously what these extra recordings you've got are going to mean to a whole bunch of people.
right.
Just that
I, I, I,
feeling.
yeah. I've got a mate who was sound guy for Kevin Borich, Renee Gayer. He did Ian Moss. He did anyone
Wow.
who's,
All the
yeah.
Aussies, the big Aussies.
He's got a room full of desk tapes. Like
Wow.
a room. Hope I'm not getting him into trouble. He has a room full of desk tapes and he knows them. He'll go, yeah, this one from February 23rd, 84.
Jeez.
Listen to this. How's the way she sung this? Like he knows them. He's listened. He's
Wow.
mad.
And it
He
just,
he comes with a real weird story actually. So when I was in my youth, I was a panel beater,
oh, okay.
right? So he lived in the same area as me, and he's a spray painter. And he said, "Oh, do you want to do some work together? We'll do it in our backyard." In his backyard, I said, "Yeah, no worries. I'm not really working." I was probably older then. I might have been 22 or 23 or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, one day he said, "Do you want to come and see Bora tonight?" I go, "What?" He come and see Bora. I go, "What's Bora?" He goes, "Kevin Borich." That's what he calls him, Bora.
Ah.
Come see Bora. I said, "Oh yeah. What time do you want me to pick you up?" He goes, "Oh no, I've got to go early for sound check." I go, "Sound check? Why are you going to sound check?" He goes, "I'm the mixer." I said, "Go away, mate." He goes, "I am," and he was. I didn't know.
So he was
He never
doing that
told me.
after hours on the side the whole time.
Yeah, Kevin
And at
Borich.
that level.
Yeah, Renee Gayer, Ian
Wow.
Moss. He used to do. Yeah, I didn't know.
Jeez.
He never said. He knew
Jeez.
I was a musician.
And he
That's
never
how
thought to
he
say it to you.
never said it. He never said it. He done Swanee. He's done a lot of bands. A
Jeez.
lot of bands.
And is he
I don't
still
need.
into it?
I don't know if he does sound anymore. He's still in the spray painting. I remember I panel beated and he spray painted John Watson car. John Watson's a left-handed drummer from Australian Choral, James
Oh,
Rain. He was actually in
wow.
Rose Tattoo for a minute. He was in
Jeez.
Rose Tattoo in his later years. He's
Shit.
played in lots of bands. He's married to uh, Vika or Linda, mm, one of the Bull sisters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's
Jeez.
a ripper, man. Yeah,
One thing I was going to ask you too is you guys play most often, is it in like E flat, half step down?
yeah.
Yeah.
Half step down.
Yeah.
So in our first album, we were in 440 because I wanted it to be a bit more bright and cheerful.
Oh,
And as it came down, I went, nah, this needs to be tough.
a bit
So
thicker. Yeah.
yeah, so we went down to E flat, which a lot of people play in now. I
It
think
seems
E
to be.
flat's
Yeah.
more standard than standard.
Yeah.
But if
It does
but
seem
if
that
you're
way.
writing pop songs, you're playing in E. It's just
Oh, okay.
brighter and more,
Wow.
effervescent.
And is there, apart from the new single, is an album coming as well?
No, we'll just do songs.
Oh, okay.
We'll
So
do songs.
you won't do a whole album.
No, one of the other part is it's actually hard to get us together.
Yeah.
I mean, Brett's in Pete Murray and he does his own thing now. Pete's in Russell Morris or, whatever else he's doing. He's a wanted guitarist.
Yeah.
The Alex and I are the only ones that really sit around and don't do anything unless it's Electric Mary. Well, he writes though. Obviously, I write too, but he writes more. Yeah.
And are you is any plans to take like Paul out on drums for the tour?
No, because he'll be doing his rose tattoo. Trying to find someone that doesn't really have an attachment with anyone, and that's going to be hard because if they're any good, they're attached.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the drummer will always be secret until you rock up to the show.
Oh, okay, right. I didn't know that drummers meant drama. I didn't know that they were a delicate species.
It's a running joke. Well, think about what they have to do, man. They have to move 4 body parts at once.
Yeah, true. Oh, it'd be a tough thing to do. Jeez, it'd be hard to do. Yeah.
In different, directions.
But it sounds good when it's right.
If you don't have a good drummer, you won't have a good band.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good drummer, I feel like sometimes they wander the world thinking that nobody likes them, though, when in actual fact it's not true.
It'd be the opposite, yeah. And then
they bring that drama to the forefront sometimes. It's like, relax.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I've always argued with drummers. Even when we had Davey Porter, who I've been friends with for, 25, probably more, 30 years. I even had an argument with him when he was in Electric Mary. It's like, why are we arguing? Jeez. Wow. Yeah, I don't know what it is. If I did something or, mind you, I'm a bit of a, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? I like to make fun of people and I like to have jokes. I like to play jokes on people. So sometimes I might do it at the inappropriate time.
Oh, right. And they might get the shits with it.
Couple little bit of backlash.
Yeah.
One good thing works out for that though. No one wants to share a room with me on tour.
Oh, well, that's all right. Then you get your own space. Yeah, as a result, and you're having a great time either way.
Yeah. On that note, I've got to go.
No, thank you, Rusty. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you.
No, it's been a great chat.
And the heartfelt thank you for everything that you've given back because of Electric Mary. It means the world to those that care. So I don't think you can underestimate how important you guys are and what you've done is and how much it means and the feeling it evokes with people, it's and the achievement that you guys have done. It's massive. It's huge. It's like, okay, it's not going to be recognizable to everyone like Jimmy Barnes's name might be, but that's not what it's about. They sell more Toyotas than they do Ferraris, and there's something special about a Ferrari.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
And that's you guys.
Can I steal that?
You take it and run with it. But thank you to what you do and what you've done and the effort. It's taken effort. It's taken years. You need to be thanked for that. I'm sure that people do love what you do when you get messages, but
thank you.
All right, Rusty, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll keep you all day.
All right, mate.
All right, thanks, Rusty. Thank you very much for checking out the show. If you did like it and have the opportunity, please do leave a 5-star review on your podcast player. It does help others find the show. If you want to find out more information about this episode, the guest, or even the other episodes that are on offer, head over to bumpinginto.com.au. Don't forget the AU. Find the episode page, and I always do my best to list follow-up links and details that make it easy for you to find out more. Thanks again for stopping by, and I'm looking forward to bumping into you next time.